gang, it's Doug Devitre, and today I'm going to share with you this tool that comes to you free, myvideo.rip. Now, I got to tell you, from as many Zoom calls as I was on or I've been on, and how many video tutorials that I've created, and how many different types of content that I wanted to create for different types of channels, I was thinking, gosh, I need a better solution, one that I can rely upon to be able to create this content for you. So I pulled out my software developer hat and created this tool, and I'm going to share with you how it works. So right now, if you are coming to the page for the first time, you're going to have to sign up. And once you sign up, it's just like creating a profile. You have a username and password. Now, here where it says sign up, it already has my details in, but I'm just going to log in to show you. Hey everybody, it's Doug Devitre, author of Screen to Screen Selling, and today we're going to discuss what a mesh Wi-Fi system is and why you really need one. Because guess what? If you're at home right now and your internet connection is too slow and you can't hop on a screen-to-screen meeting, how embarrassing is that, right? And it's like one of those things, like a relationship, like it's not you, it was me, right? Like, who's going to take ownership in that situation? So really what you're going to have to do is beef up your Wi-Fi network system if you haven't in a long time. And I just want to share with you, like, gosh, this wasn't too long ago where I was looking at my connection speed for these screen-to-screen meetings, and it was just slow, and it always been slow. It's one of those things kind of like taxes, like you just want to avoid. And so what ended up happening is I ended up biting the bullet. I ended up having a guy from Best Buy come out actually and said, you need a mesh Wi-Fi. What this is right here? This is called an All right, everybody, we're going to get started on the session for screen-to-screen selling. And I just got this email from my buddy Paul. He says, things have changed. And they certainly have, right? They've certainly changed. And one of the things I know that's changed about some of the stuff that I'm doing right now is I'm doing daily live stream sessions, right? And so this is anybody's opportunity to come on and ask me questions about some of the stuff that I'm doing innovative with regards to screen selling, with regards to voice marketing for business. Anybody who has invested in smart home technology or not sure what uh, what appliances to get, I've got a whole session on that. So really, like we've transformed this idea of creating content and pre-recorded content and really giving you access to all different types of opportunities, right? So I had mentioned, sales and marketing. Like we're going to be talking sales and marketing every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Um, Monday, Tuesday afternoons, and then Thursday morning. Also, screen to screen selling. Like we're talking about this right now, but it's Monday and Tuesday every day between 3 and 4 p.m. When I say times, I always think about Central Time. Now, I live in St. Louis, Missouri. However, a lot of people don't know where St. Louis is. So we're in the same time zone as Chicago and Dallas, right? Yeah, Central Time Zone. And then when it comes to voice marketing, business and programming voice apps, this is every Wednesday and Friday. Wednesday at 10 a.m. and Friday at 10 a.m. And then finally, the smart home, that's right before voice marketing for business on Friday. It's Friday only at 9 a.m. And you're thinking, well, gosh, Doug, do you have enough material to be able to cover daily for the rest of our lives? Well, I don't know. Maybe, right? Maybe it all depends on how much quickly you're able to adapt to some of these trends, right? So really, like I take it very seriously when it comes to a trend. Like I always try to be first, and one of my skill sets is learning fast. So as when something like voice came out, and I started with it 3 years ago, I was thinking, oh my gosh, this is kind of a race. I need to drill in first. Well, really, like here's what I've experienced, with screen to screen selling. Remember this book? You might even have a copy. Now, have you read it? Right? Have you read this thing? And if you haven't, right, now's the time to pick it up. And one of the problems, or it's a problem, it's a challenge that I have, is that I always have to meet people where they are, right? And I would encourage you to meet others where they are. And so I love talking about the latest trends and doing the trends when a lot of folks really kind of need the basics, right? They need to know how to set up their Zoom meeting environment for the best productivity. They're trying to decide, do I use Zoom meeting or do I use Zoom webinar or do I not even need Zoom, right? And so what I can do is kind of like walk us through wherever stage or step that you're on. And so inside the comments right now, whether you're on YouTube Live or you're on one of the Facebook pages or the Facebook group or Twitter or Twitch or whatever platform it is, I encourage you at the very least say hello, right? Say hello, introduce yourself, but type something that you are experiencing. Either you have a question or maybe it's like a success story to have. And so that way what we can do is like acknowledge you for doing the work and then also try to think, well, okay, now that you've gotten here, how can we help you, get here? And so there really isn't any rhyme or reason to what some of the things that I shared. In fact, the session earlier, right, that we did for sales and marketing, we talked about doing some tasks inside of Canva and how to get quotes from a transcript, right? We're not gonna cover this in today's session unless you inside the participants said, hey Doug, can you go over that again? But I want to kind of like walk you through just some things that are probably more recurring than anything else when it comes to screen selling, and then we can have an active conversation about it. Now, one thing too is if you say, Doug, how do I
can I join you to where it's kind of like a Zoom call where we're inside your stream? Maybe, right? If we know each other and right, that's probably the biggest thing. Do we know each other? And then secondly, if we do, and I know I can trust you, then I'll put you on the live stream here. If I don't know who you are, I guess you have to kiss before you can hug or something like that. So I wrote this diagnostic, right? And you can even see like right next to me, this is a picture of me, and that's just a watermark that I put on a lot of my intellectual property diagrams, right? Because this is thought leadership, right? This isn't somebody else's stuff. If you see this in this type of format, tell me, and I'll have a conversation with them, right? Because I just literally put stylus to iPad and wrote these things out based upon what I'm seeing in how people show up for these meetings, right? And so really there's two factors when it comes to really getting better at Zoom meetings, right? And it comes down to two different factors. Number one, excuse me, is awareness. Like, do you have a level of awareness about how you show up inside of that little square, right? Inside of your little camera? Do you have the awareness to know what maybe other people are doing that are really, really good, and then also the awareness of what you're doing wrong, right? And I know like doing wrong is that's probably not the right terminology I'd use. I'd say probably doing it better, because everyone is okay where they are, right? It's just their choice if they want to get better at this. And so if you are sincere about getting better, then you will develop an awareness based upon what you can do or what you shouldn't do, right? And then the next thing that comes up is, can you take action on it? Or are you willing to take action on it? Or in some cases, you might be taking action on some of these items, but it's actually having the opposite consequence of what you expect, right? And this is a perfect example. When somebody comes up inside of a PowerPoint presentation and they start narrating the slides, that could show, hey, somebody's being proactive here. Somebody's taking action, but you know what? They're really not hitting the mark. You hear of Zoom fatigue, right? Because you got people presenting to one another and people aren't actually solving problems together, right? You're only as good as the slowest person in the group. So if someone is slowing your group down by narrating slides, that's a conversation that you're going to have internally, right? Or you have expectations when you meet with people from the outside. They don't come up with some pre-canned show up and throw up speech, right? That you have something that's more dynamic that solves real problems in real time. So that's where this gravitation it comes from, right? Is that we have a high level of awareness and we're taking action in the right direction, right? So one of the things, I'll just kind of go through these one by one. I don't know if I necessarily need to cover being dependent on face-to-face, or the level of the thinking that goes on, or maybe it's your equipment. I don't need to harp on those things. I really think we can focus in on like what are some things we can do, right? And then you can use some of those, the ones that I have listed as kind of like another benchmark. So when you think about just-in-time visual, I need to pull up the right visual at the right time to be able to support a conversation, right? So if somebody says to me, Doug, like, how did you create your live stream schedule, right? It looks so cool how you have it here. Like, how did you do that, right? Like, what was the thing that you did that how'd you start from that? So what I did is I just took my Apple iPad, right? And I took a screenshot of the calendar and actually hit all of the calendars. And I started thinking, well, okay, gosh, how do I get different shows to appear at different times that work within my schedule, right? So I have enough time to meet with clients, that have enough time to do any pre-work or post-work for a client, in between, or if I have private meetings scheduled. My goal was to do 2 hours a day. So then I had to pull up this visual just in time to be able to explain what my strategy is. So then that way I can get the help that I need to be able to execute. And then, right, and then it wasn't until I drafted this thing out and got some agreement, or at least you know, committing, right? 2 hours a day, that's commitment. Um, then I could put it into this nice graphic. Now, is this the best graphic to use in this type of environment? I don't know, but at least I was able to kind of like start from somewhere. I'll give you another idea of like another just-in-time visual that I'm pulling up on a regular basis. This has to do with how I'm inserting these visuals onto my screen, right? So I'm using this app, and you can actually see it. It's almost hidden. Doceri Desktop, right? This is the iPad app that acts as a telestrator that then was downloaded onto my computer, and you can't see it here, but that's my iPad where it says mobile mirroring right here. Like that's the iPad. Now it's connected to a projector screen if I was in person, or I could have this thing go into Zoom, right? Or Teams. Now, I would not pull up this visual and I would not start drawing on it unless you told me, "Hey, Doug, how are you drawing on the screen like this? It's so fluid. It's so dynamic. I'm not having to wait long time for you to do one transition to the next." That's the app called Doceri, and so I'll even pull it up here on the website so you can see this. This is mentioned a couple times in my book. I think I go into real detail on how to use this on chapter 8, the digital whiteboard. But when you go here, come here and then you click download. So you're going to download this for this app to your iPad, and you're also going to download Doceri desktop software to your computer or to your laptop, right? So it's a $30 one-time license. I'm surprised they don't charge more for this. I mean, really, for I want to say the last 8 years, I've been using this thing for $30, right? And then something also too. You saw how they had the watermark of me on that visual. Do you remember seeing that? I'll back up here. Okay, see that. See how there's like me talking to the Alexa device? That's the watermark. Now, if you want the watermark as part of your iPad visuals, then that's a $5 in-app purchase for Doceri. Okay, so I'd highly recommend checking it out. Now, if you're using an Android tablet, you're going to have to find something comparable to this that allows you to insert visuals really quick, that allows you to telestrate on top of an existing screen, right? So right now I can actually click my little button here, and then I can draw on this, right? I can draw on the website. And, so many times you say, click on this button. What button? This button. Do you see this button right here? You click on this button. So that's kind of like, this is Doceri, and that's kind of how you would use it in that type of context. So what I'm going to do here is, I kind of shared kind of a lot, right, in a short period of time on how to use Doceri. What I'd maybe do is, like, if you're watching this right now, either from YouTube, from Periscope, from the Facebook page, from the Facebook group, now is a good chance to ask a question, right? Or just say, hey, this is something that I've been using for a while, and I really like it. If not, we can kind of just move on to the next thing. That's kind of how these conversations go. So I'll pull up the whiteboard again to be able to frame this concept for you. I guess it'd be the next concept. And that is this. So let me ask you this. When you're having, let's say you're hosting a virtual event, or you're hosting a virtual meeting, or delivering a virtual presentation, what's the deliverable that you're trying to deliver? It's kind of playing words there. Are you trying to, is the purpose of the meeting to entertain and facilitate? If that's where you are, then you're going to focus on creating some sort of like educational game show where you're asking people to answer questions and collect their feedback. Or maybe it's a contest that you do, or maybe it's an interview, some sort of way that's engaging others in the conversation so that entertains them, right? And this could be used for team building. This can be used for pre-event. This can be used for networking purposes. There's all different kinds of purposes that you can use. Now, also for, let's pretend you are a trainer, right? You're a corporate trainer, or you train on education types of courses. There's a high likelihood that you're going to want to learn these applications, right? You're going to want to learn some sort of presentation slide software. Not that you have to use it all the time, but just that you know how to use it. Also, you've seen me do web demos. And, one of the things just with a web demo, you always want to make sure that you're zoomed in so people can see. I mean, I know I've seen it so many times where people will share their screen. It's on like the lowest setting, the lowest zoom setting. And so you really have to like squint, or you just wait until the person's over because you can't see what's going on. Highly recommend that you do, that you zoom in when you're demoing some sort of web application. Also, if let's say you have a mobile app or you have a mobile website you're trying to teach somebody how to use, there's a tool called Reflector app, right? It's made by a company called Air Squirrels. It sells this app called Reflector app, and I think it's about $15. It works for Apple and it works for PC. That you can do a mirror image of whatever's on your phone into that screen. Now, here's what people have told me, right? They said, well, Doug, Zoom already has that option that will help you use your phone as an input source. And I think that's great. Well, what if you're not using Zoom? What if you're using something else? What if you're just trying to create a basic screen tutorial? Or maybe it's a tutorial with you on the side, right? So you see the picture of the phone. There's you like kind of I am right here, talking with the animations going on the phone. Reflector app is going to be a great tool. It's only $50 or $15 per person. Last time I checked. And then I've shared with you the whiteboard app, right? The digital whiteboard app that you can draw on to use to facilitate conversations. Now, here's where this really gets interesting, right? This is, I want to say, next level teams, right? Where teams get so used to meeting with one another that they can really like collect the best content or ideas from those who participate and then use those as examples in teaching so that everybody can benefit from that, right? So a good facilitator who can transfer skills doesn't have all the answers, they have all of the questions, right? And so when you have the question, you can help navigate or steer the conversation in a way that helps participants figure out the answer for themselves and acquire a skill they didn't have before. So if we're looking at like this where it's a fill in the blank visual, let me see if I can insert one that's, I guess, maybe fairly recent to kind of show you what it would look like. Now, that calendar, that would be a good one to use, right? Because the calendar, we're used to be filling in dates. Here's one. This would be performance metrics, right? So I would ask you the questions right now. Right now, how many live broadcasts are you doing per day? Well, you might say, well, Doug, we're not doing any. I'd say, okay. How many internal trainings are you doing today? Well, I think with our bandwidth and our people and our facilities, we can only do 2 per day. Time produce new content. Maybe this takes 2 hours for 30 minutes. Cost to deliver each training program. Well, if it's face-to-face, then I'm looking at, I don't know, $1,500 per visit with travel, food, or it could be $500. I mean, you have to answer that, right? That's why, like, this visual, I don't have the answers. You have the answers. And until I ask you what the answers are, I can't help you. If you don't give me the answers, I can't help you. Like, that's kind of how this works here. And so if you go back to this facilitated type of conversation, it's at a higher level, right? Also for participant chat, a lot of people still do not feel comfortable making a contribution on participant chat. They're afraid they're not going to say something that's going to make sense. They're afraid they're going to say the wrong thing. They're going to say too much, or they're not going to say enough. Right? These are just like meeting group dynamics in person. There's the same kind of dynamics apply for participant chat, except it takes on a different form. So another one too is Loom video solicitation. So this is another clever one that you've heard me talk about, the app called Loom that does a screen recording video. Now, right now, inside of this, it's going to be a contest to see, who can create the best video for why I would want to join your company, or who can create the best video tutorial to show me how to use their MLS, or who can create the best video listing presentation within 60 minutes that without any preparation, right? These are tasks that you could literally do during, let's say, a Zoom meeting, and somebody would be able to capture. So I'm going to scroll. I'm going to zoom out of this so you can see this a little bit better. So I've got the camera source. Now I might change my camera source, but now you can see the background that I have. And then I have my microphone, and I have to zoom out just a little bit more in this so I get to start recording. So it's going to start recording after I choose my screen, and I click share. So 3, 2, 1. Hey everybody, this is Doug, and this is how to use this site right now. Right now, this is actually the giveaway I'm doing for my community, where anybody who enters to win has an opportunity to win this. I'll share it with you here. This is the uninterruptible power supply. And so you just type in your name and enter. It's easy as that. If you, after on the next screen, if you want to receive more entries for the contest, you can see the options that are there. So have a great day. I'll see you on the webinar. So stop sharing, then creates the URL for me to copy and paste and then share inside of the Zoom meeting, right? Or here's kind of like another like ninja type of trick. If I were going to share this in an email, and now I have the link for it, I can then go to my phone, copy and paste the link that I sent by email, and put it into a text message. And when people get a video like this by text message, they're blown away. It's not like your normal video that you get. This is like a screen capture video of you, and actually you providing value of whatever it is. So if you can imagine like being in a group team meeting, right, where there's like 25 people that are participating, and everybody was able to create a video that they could share in real time. And granted, you wouldn't not everybody would have the opportunity to look at every single video, especially if everyone contributed. But at the same time, like you get different ideas and catalog them in a way where people can access it. So that just goes back to what I shared before on creating this Loom video solicitation, right? I mean, how powerful is that? That's super powerful as far as facilitating the application of people actually doing something. You know, if you can get a team to do that, they're well on their way, right? Because they've overcome the fear of hopping on video, right? They start to feel confident about them talking within the script that you might have provided, or give them the opportunity to think extemporaneously, right? Like a big skill I think that's missing why a lot of folks don't get on these video platforms tools or live streaming tools is they just can't or not able to think extemporaneously. So enabling a team with this type of process will totally help in the long run. It's just establishing a foundation for success, and a tool like this, you know, guess how much it is? It doesn't cost anything. So I'm going to take a little sip of water and kind of like chill for a second. Maybe I can play some music and maybe like do some dance, but I'm just going to take a sip of water here. And while you're thinking about what questions to ask, type it in, right? Type it in on either Facebook, type it on YouTube or Twitter, however you're starting to do this. So I'm just going to kind of play a quick commercial, and then I'll be right back.
Hello and welcome to the Screen-to-Screen Selling Experience presented by Doug Devitre.
Do you feel left behind because you aren't able to keep up with the latest technology trends?
Are you tired of making mistakes with technology that cost you a fortune? Or do you feel stuck because you don't know how to set yourself apart from the competition?
Organizations bring in Doug Devitre when they want to dramatically improve their sales, productivity and customer experience with the latest technology.
Doug does more than speak about the trends. He set the trend with his creative approach to using technology in a way that is unique to you, your message, and your brand.
Doug's clients recently shared his success stories.
I cannot thank you enough for all your help with Zoom meetings and webinars these past few weeks.
That was so amazing. You did a fantastic job and should be proud of what you offered.
Not only does he identify and understand emerging trends before others do, he helps you figure out how to capitalize on them in a way that's unique to you and your goals.
Doug's presentations are engaging, provide actionable takeaways, and always fun.
Make sure to introduce yourself in the participant chat, ask clarifying questions, and share what you like so you can get the most value from the program.
Are you ready to bookmark favorite links, add them to your to-do list, and take massive action?
Make sure to keep your cell phone mute when you aren't speaking, turn off all notifications, and close down any other programs you don't need for this session.
Ladies and gentlemen,
please stay tuned. We will begin the program momentarily.
The information delivered through this medium is owned by Doug Devitre International Inc. and not to be redistributed without written explicit permission.
All rights reserved.
All right, so I am back. I'm back. I wanted to take just a quick break to kind of like reconnect my thoughts and try to think, okay, do you all have any questions right now that would be beneficial that you're working with? And it could be anything, right? It could be anything with regards to working screen to screen, setting up meetings, scheduling them, and so forth. Here's what I'll do is this seems so simple, right? But if I wanted to schedule a meeting with you, right, I can open up Zoom. So here's Zoom, right? If I wanted to schedule a meeting, do I schedule it here? You see this? See how my options are? I have the topic name. I have the date, time. It can be a recurring meeting. Video preferences. I always recommend, like on your video start when you're the host, is that you turn off your video camera and the participant video camera. Why? Is because some people aren't always camera ready. and we have to respect that, and give people the permission to turn their own video camera on when they are ready, right? So that would be one of your explicit meeting policies or something you'd set up just kind of as the default, right? Now, when you see on here, this is all you can do, right? And the challenge that it has is it doesn't synchronize with your calendar. So what you need to do is download the Chrome extension, log into your Zoom account. So this is the Chrome extension for Zoom, and that can be found, I think, at zoom.us/downloads. If you want the link to that, shoot over a comment, and then I'll reply back to it for you. But if I'm going to keep going, though, assuming that you know how to find the Chrome extension. And so then I'll click schedule a meeting, right? And so this is going to synchronize with my calendar. Now, the problem with Zoom is it'll synchronize with the calendar, but it doesn't give you a lot of these other dynamic options that are in here, right? Particularly when it comes to setting the meeting agenda and adding in attachments and really like getting everybody on board. So, I mean, even inviting guests, your calendars, your most frequently used emails are going to be on here as far as adding them. And then you could change the meeting title. Well, all this appears as the default. And you can actually go in here and change the default message to whatever you want inside of the Zoom settings. Now, what this is going to do is this is going to, when you click and you start to add somebody, right? And my friend Scott was on the last one. So I'm just going to add, pretend like I'm adding him. When I click save, it's then going to say, would you like to send invitation emails to Google Calendar guests? And I'm going to say yes, right? Like I want Scott to receive this email, and I want him to click the add onto his calendar. And because I'm sending it as a calendar invitation, if he says yes to it, I'll get the notification that he says yes. If he says no to it, I'll get the notification that he says no. If he wants to respond back to this email, he can then put in the appropriate time for which, he wants to have this meeting. So I'm not going to click send right now. I'm just going to click dismiss, and I'm not going to send this. But I want to really be detailed. I might even add an attachment, right? These might be slides that we might want to review together. This might be a PDF that we might want to review together. This might be a video that we might want to review together. Now, granted, you can send it as a link from Dropbox or Google Drive, but sometimes the benefit is having it saved as an attachment, and that attachment gets sent with the email, right? So it's when we look at all the different tasks that come with scheduling, these team meetings, we want to have a lot of different options that decrease the chances that people will forget about this, increase the likelihood they click on the exact link, right? Because this join Zoom meeting link, this now becomes the location that's attached to this specific time. And so if somebody says that they're on the wrong Zoom meeting link, tell them to check their calendar because it's synchronized with their calendar in the invite that was sent out. And so if you are trying to say, well, Doug, how did you find that Chrome browser extension? Well, you just go to zoom.us and you scroll all the way down to the bottom. Excuse me. This is going to be the browser extension, right? So it works for Chrome and it works for Firefox. If you're using Microsoft Outlook, then you're going to want to add in the Microsoft Outlook add-in, right? So this way you can instead of scheduling an appointment through the Zoom software, you're scheduling an appointment from Microsoft Outlook. Again, saved in the calendar, synced in the calendar, especially if your company's all Microsoft. That's going to be the way to go. So at this point, you might have a question. You might say, well, Doug, for whatever reason, the calendar attachment isn't showing up inside of the invitation, right? Or you might say, well, what happens if I just want to send an invitation really quick to somebody? How do I send it by email? Do I send it by Facebook? How do I how would I send that message, right? And so I'll go ahead and answer my own question, just because there aren't any questions right now. Is that you really have to look at who you're talking to determine what their preferred method of communication is. And so if you respond a lot back and forth with somebody by email, then just use that as the go-to, right? The email is always the safest. It's always the most secure. But then you might also have a relationship with somebody where a lot's done through Facebook Messenger, right? And so then you could send the Zoom meeting link that way. Now, you could say, well, Doug, if I'm using Facebook Messenger and they're using Facebook Messenger, why would I need Zoom when I could just use Facebook Messenger? And I would say, that's a really good point. I wouldn't hop on a Zoom meeting if you already used to it, right? Some people aren't used to hopping on these video meetings by Facebook yet. And the more you do it, I mean, if you do it once, you're going to say, oh, it works. And just like you started your profile, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, right? You start to find out better ways of being able to use, these platforms. So that was just a brief introduction on scheduling, but I know there's a variety of different ways that, you can use this as well. Another thing that's come up just in conversations is how are you managing all of the sound files, right? All that for these meetings, because if we look at, the entertainment side of things, we want to make these meetings fun, right? We want to make them to where people are enjoying themselves and they're not just sitting there, oh my gosh, I can't wait till this is over. And so you've heard me insert music here where this is kind of like a commercial.
Hello and welcome to the screen-to-screen selling experience presented by Doug Devitre.
Do you?
I just added this new one in for, I think it's the Jeopardy song. So if I ask a question, then, people can then have time to think about it. Right, that's one button. While this is going on, so I have eight buttons, right? This is when I tell a joke. This is usually when I do introductions. This is if it's somebody's birthday, right? Not only do I have the music, right? Happy birthday music. This is a big growl. Kind of gets people's attention. This is like that in cases where something's happening slower than it should. Or maybe this is a technical difficulty I'm having. And then this is like your regular dial tone, pretending like we're calling somebody in. Right? These buttons here, I only have one microphone plugged in. This is my Audio Technica microphone. It has this this XLR cable that's plugged in directly to my microphone. I don't have any other microphones set up for this, so that's 1 through 4. This button right here, this is the USB-C that plugs directly into my computer. So this is how the two talked with one another, is by a USB-C cable. Now, if I wanted to plug in my phone, there's a jack in the back that I can plug in my phone to act as an audio input, right? So this could be other sound files, or this could be music that I want to play, or this could be a caller too, right? Somebody could call in and you want to have them as part of the Zoom meeting without having to hop on Zoom. You can use this phone option, and then the volume you can set for the phone individually inside of your meeting. This one's really handy too, right? This is Bluetooth, which can be used also with a phone, right? So you might even have two phones set up, right? Or you might just have one phone because you might just use Bluetooth and not this one because you don't have a cable for this, and this doesn't require a cable, right? If I think, okay, now we're getting to a segment where I just want to record the audio, I press this record button. And they're in the back here too. You actually see it laying out. It's not plugged in. That's my micro SD card that will store a lot of those audio files for podcasts. So if I'm just doing audio only and I want to crank out that content there, that will store audio files and that SD card, and then I can just kind of like transfer it over. So, there's I've made so many mistakes with this thing that make you wonder, well, gosh, do I really need that? Why don't I just use my regular, right? Why don't I just use my regular webcam audio? And I tell you what, you have to ask yourself that question. Do I want is it worth making more mistakes so I can create a better experience for my participants? And if you can say yes to that, then you're going to say, okay, well, how do I hook up this microphone? If I have this hooked up to Zoom, what's the appropriate settings? If I have the soundboard hooked up to this live stream, do I have the appropriate settings? Yesterday when I tried this, I had the wrong microphone hooked up, and so it didn't connect, right? I'll actually have to go back and delete that episode just because it's like me like this for an hour that you just can't hear what I'm talking about. So it's totally not relevant in that capacity. So this is kind of new here. And this is something to probably be aware of, is I got my first spam message on Twitch, right? I have my first spam message in the comments section. It says this is from CZJP4PJAR8 in Twitch. It says, "Want to become famous? Buy my followers, primes, and views on bigfollows.com." Well, now this tells me this is another mistake, right? That I need to, you wouldn't know unless I told you, right? Actually, we can actually show this. Actually show this so you can see. Yeah, here we go. So now you can see this comment here and that I put on here. And so what I need to do is figure out, okay, how do I moderate this chat so that people can't send spam messages and take over the stream, right? What are some safety protocol that I need to put into place so that when this thing starts to get bigger, that I can really focus on my message and not some internet troll that's trying to get revenge or that's trying to, use my channel to help get them more business. And I know there's a lot of folks that are out there that do that. I just suggest that you are not one of them. So really, what I want to remind everybody is, especially because these sessions that I'm doing, that I did yesterday and today, are really the first times that I'm trying out this platform within the new environment. And so what I encourage you to do is that tomorrow at 10 a.m., join on again. This is going to go straight to the Voice Marketing for Facebook group. This is from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. on Wednesday. We're going to be talking about some voice apps. We're also going to be talking about programmable voice. You see here at this number here at the bottom where it says call text 314-582-8808. We're actually going to go into my developer toolkit, and we're going to actually change around and reprogram the voice experience for that. So I've been delaying that task because I wanted other people to see how I can kind of go ahead and do that, on my own. I'll also suggest too that you check out this giveaway that we're doing, right? This giveaway that we have is for anybody who wants to get one of these uninterruptible power supplies. The link to it is right here. So I know that I have this on my website. I know I have this on a variety of different places. Once you get to this link, just enter in your email address, and then you can actually sign up for more entries inside of this one and have more chances to win. This way you can receive one of these uninterruptible power supplies for free and have access to the 6-month intensive coaching program that I'm doing. And right now we've got a good group of folks that are doing some of the things that we're talking about. I'm getting pictures of their studios that's being sent in. It's really, really, really been a treat. So, if you watch this, or if you caught a glimpse of it, or maybe it's even the recording, I'd love to know your feedback. How can we make this show a little bit better? Is there something specific that you want to hear about? Please let me know in the comments. So I'm going to sign off for now. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in today. I'll see you on the next episode.